I wanted to talk to you about the impact on the world and what every nation invests everything in to produce. It's important that I explain this to you because in the Black community, there is an idea that if you have enough money, that this is what kind of rotates the world, so to speak. But I want to discredit that thought process because I see that it's running extremely rampant in that community especially. Just because you have $1 billion or maybe $10 billion, you could have $10 billion right now, and that $10 billion is not enough to change the trajectory of the world necessarily. You know, the backbone of this country are its universities. And there's a reason why that is. The universities are the backbone of this country. Because every country in the world is invested into producing one thing, just one thing, that is so valuable that it trumps you having $10 billion. It's so valuable that there's no amount of money, nor property that you can own, nor businesses that you could have that even competes to this one thing that every progressive nation is vested in. 100%, 110%. Every nation is vested in this one thing that trumps wealth, money. And that one thing that the countries around this world are vested in is to produce the greatest thinker, the greatest mind. Because what they understand about producing the greatest thinkers is that the greatest thinkers have the capacity to give you an advantage in the world. Money can't do that. But if you produce the greatest thinkers will assuredly give you the greatest advantage on the global scale. So let me explain to you something that is, a grave issue with the Black community, especially, is that you don't think that way. You don't understand the value of great thinkers. As a matter of fact, you overlook that because the most important thing to you is to have some money, whether it's $1 million or $1 billion. Okay, say you have $10 billion. That $10 billion is minute and compared to the wealth of America. The entire wealth of the country is so much more than that little $10 billion that you have. You understand what I'm saying? That means that just because you have some money don't mean nothing on the global scale to people who run the world. People who run the world are vested in producing the most valuable thing that the world has to offer, and that's the great thinker, great minds. Great minds change the trajectory of a world. Great minds make it so that you enjoy the luxuries that the world have to offer, the technologies that the world have to offer. Great minds produce those things, not great wealth. Great minds, great thinkers. And the reason why the Black community, on the most part, they're so far behind on the global arena, so far behind because they lack the concept of producing great minds. We just want to produce the greatest rapper, the greatest ball player, the greatest entertainer. But just because you produce all of those, it means absolutely zero on the world stage. Nothing. Because you will not run anything. It is the ones that can produce the greatest minds that get the most value. I'm talking about to the people who run the world. The ones who can produce the greatest minds, the country that produces the greatest minds, understand the implications of producing the greatest minds. Why do you think all these institutions are the way that they are? I used to tell people that I was having a conversation several years back with a white guy and a friend of mine, and he was telling me that his philosophy is that universities are designed for people to fail. Well, I jumped right in and I said, I totally agree 100% with you. It's important to design them in a capacity to weed out the weak minds, to prepare the next generation to run the world. Weed out the weak minds. So say that black culture produces, these rappers or these entertainers. No one on the global scale of things really pays no attention to that. They don't mind you having millions of dollars or $1 billion if you ever get to there. That's nothing. They don't mind you having that because they understand how trivial that is to control the world. They don't mind you having an astronomical amount of money. But they will be alerted and they will pay close attention. And you could stop the press if we produce a great mind, a great thinker. Then the presses will stop. Then the people that run the world will pay close attention. These universities are designed to produce the great mind because other universities in other countries are trying to produce great mind, great thinkers. The great thinker is the greatest commodity known to mankind. The greatest thinker is. Now, let me break this down to you in maybe a way that a lot of you probably can understand. Now, let's talk about Christianity or the church, right? And the general message of the church, the Christian church, is that, Jesus can make your life better. Jesus can bless you, give you houses, and he can give you a car. He can bless your children. And generally, that's the message of the church. But to the people who run the world, it's almost laughable to them. I'm talking about the great thinkers, mind you, because they're saying to you in your message that all that you're telling the general public or the general population that could be done because of Jesus, we produce that and more with our system of producing the great minds. What you do with Jesus, we do bigger, better, more excellent without him. So why would they leave a system that they have seen worked that produces great minds, that have made your life more comfortable today? What have you produced as a Christian? What have you done to change the trajectory of the world, to make things better for the world, for mankind? What have you produced as a Christian that rivals what these great minds have been able to produce in today that you benefit by? That's how they think. So you expect us intellectuals, great thinkers of the world, to just stop doing what we're doing, to cease the system of producing great minds, to do what? To then come and be a part of what you're claiming to be a good life because of Jesus? How do you win a person like that when they're looking at your message as ridiculous? You can't win them until you produce something that makes their system inadequate or deficient. Unless Christianity or religiosity produces a great thinker, a great mind, they won't even flinch. But I am a Hebrew. I believe in Yahweh. I believe in God's ability to create and develop the greatest thinkers. But it's difficult coming from the black community, because one thing that offsets the ability for the mind to expand is anger and violence. Anger and violence automatically stops the process of developing the great mind. Because when you're angry and violent, you are just an animal. I don't want to even be around you when you're angry and violent. What has it produced in your life? What has it produced in your culture? This is what they think. It's produced a rapper or a ball player or an entertainer. Say he has a few $1 million. They're laughing at you. They're laughing at us. Because on the scope of the global platform, that's a little bit of nothing. Now let me tell you how Yahweh operates. The scripture says that God will take, he said that the wisdom of men is foolishness unto Yah. The wisdom of man, this system that creates great thinkers, this great educational system that creates what all nations are vested in, the great mind. He said, Yahweh, that this system, albeit successful, albeit you've seen the manifestations of what it produces, this system is foolishness unto him. How could it be when that's the predominant system running the world? God said, as a matter of fact, I will take the foolish things of this world, this system that looks and sees something as foolish, I will take that thing and rise it up to confound the height of this great system that runs the world. How does he do that? How does he do it? Well, black people, you are in a perfect place for it to be done. You are of all people the most abased people. At the bottom, you are a byword. In other words, people just talk about you. They make funnies about you. But God is saying that I could take you. I prefer to take you in your base state and rise you up to confound that system that has produced greatness. But I can't do it because you're full of anger and violence. And that kills off my ability to work with you. You think you're doing something because all your energies are devoted to money. All your energies are devoted to coming up. If you get all the money you want, it's still nothing in a global scenario, on the global platform. It is here. It is produced in the great thinker that will make this system take note. That system will say is powerful, productive, and we've shown this system works. How in the world can Andre Taylor, born from a prostitute and a pimp, been to Fed prison, how is it that he could think the way he thinks? How is it possible he hasn't gone to an Ivy League university? How does he have the capacity to reason like that? Then I'm simply able to say that there is a God in heaven. And it is he that hath given me the wherewithal from nothing, from my abased state, to think and have the mind that I have. You got work to do. All you every day is think about the money and fame. And I'm praying that you will understand the value of producing the great mind. The great thinker is my prayer. Because until we produce great thinkers, that system will never even take note of us. Make sure you go to my website, gorgeousstraight.com. Get all my product that you can that's available for you. There's a lot of things on there that will stir this mind. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening.